Thank you, Darnell. Good afternoon. I'm Brother Zachary Stevens Walter, the the chaplain for pastoral care here at the Community Church. I welcome you all on behalf of our ministry team, our staff, and all our lay leaders. It is good to be together, both in person and online. Community Church is a multiracial, multicultural, multi-generational congregation with a vision and commitment to build a world grounded in equity and inclusion. With me today is the Rev DL Helfer. Is that how you say it? Helfer? Helfer. Thank you. And our musician in residence, Darnell White. Please join me in welcoming the Reverend DL Helfer. DL uses they, them pronouns and is joining us from Rhode Island, currently serving as the affiliate community minister at the Westminster Unitarian Universalist Church. Reverend DL Helfer is a Unitarian Universalist minister, a genderqueer individual, and a believer in truth-telling. Reverend DL Helfer is non-binary and, in general, avoids boxes which traps them into this or that. Instead, they search for possibility, for deeper truths, and share those glimmers of possibility with others. Children are always welcome during worship. Feel free to move around the space or join in children's programming that will actually not be separate. It will happen during our service, which is intergenerational. The sound of babies crying or children fidgeting are a beautiful part of being in community. Masks are optional. We ask that everyone please be respectful of each other's decisions and need for personal space. If you have a cold, please consider masking or moving to a space in the room you are less likely to infect others. Today's service is entitled, A Love for More Than Just Survival. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 1009 in your teal hymnal, Meditation on Breathing.
Breathe out. sweet when I breathe in. I breathe out peace when I breathe out. I breathe out love when I breathe in. I breathe out peace when I breathe out. I breathe out love when I breathe in. I breathe out peace when I breathe out. I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Good morning. It's good to be here with you.
Good morning.
Or afternoon, that's actually true. Thank you. I think of it as the morning, but it's not. So our call to worship this morning is entitled Wholeness by the Reverend Sharon Wiley. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you. Every part of you is beautiful exactly the way you are. Here, you do not need to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding. No exerting yourself or trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or to the person sitting next to you or to anyone. You don't have to try to be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful exactly as you are right now. You are extraordinary, actually. Each and every one of you are each extraordinary in your own way. Let us share that breathtaking beauty and enter worship together.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing. Show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing. Show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Please join me in sharing our spoken chalice lighting. We light this candle, the flame of our heritage. May it ignite hope in our lives, in our community, and in the world. Please join me in reciting our unison affirmation found in your bulletin. Unto the Church Universal, which is the depository of all ancient wisdom and the school of all modern thought, which recognizes in all prophets a harmony, in all scriptures a unity, and through all dispensations a continuity, which abjures all that separates and divides, and always magnifies humanity and peace, which seeks truth in freedom, justice in love, and individual discipline in social duty, and which shall make of all persons one beloved community. Unto this church and unto all its members, known and unknown throughout the world, we pledge the allegiance of our hands and hearts. Please join me in reciting our land acknowledgement. We are gathered on the unceded land of the Lenape peoples. We acknowledge the Lenape community, their elders both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment to dismantling the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. Now a time for all ages.
I am told this morning that a time for all ages isn't something that you necessarily do every week, especially if there are no children present, but I have a love of storytelling, and I love to share with each of us kind of that inner child that exists that wants to hear it. So here's the story for this morning. It's called When Aiden Became a Big Brother. And there's actually a book by this name. And so there was a young child, 5 or 6, and their parents were a little distraught. The child was constantly ripping their clothes and rolling in mud and destroying their room, which in some ways sounds like normal child behavior. But this was more than that, and no matter what clothes they put on this child, the child just seemed to hate whatever they were wearing. And eventually the parents realized that the child might actually identify with a different gender. And so they bought that little kid shorts and a t-shirt that might be considered more boy clothes. And the little boy adopted the name of Aiden. And suddenly this little kid could take care of his clothes, didn't roll in dirt, didn't get them ripped, took care of his room, because he felt more like who he was. And as he resonated in his true self, he became more comfortable. That is until one day when his mother became pregnant, and Aiden got worried. And at the core of Aiden's concern was, what if I'm not a good big brother? What if I don't get what this kid needs the same way my parents did not see all of me at first? And his mother would go into stores, and people would look at his mom with her pregnant belly and say, is it a boy or a girl? And Aiden would just put his head down, because you don't always know the answers to these questions. And his mom would say, I want a healthy baby, and leave it at that. But Aiden couldn't stop worrying. And one day he climbed in a bed next to his mom, and he shared his fears. He said, what if I make the same mistakes? What if I don't see my little sibling? And his mom taught him exactly what he needed to hear. She said, you know how to love, and that love is all you need. We all make mistakes. We all learn along the way. But that love will make you the best big brother ever. And that's your story for the morning.
Now is the time to greet your neighbor. You're invited to share a COVID-safe greeting with those around you. It is summertime, and I see us gathering for our centering moment naturally. We begin with the centering sound of a chime and a brief moment of silence, followed by a spoken prayer. Our prayer for this afternoon worship was written by non-binary, queer, Latinx, Unitarian Universalist minister, Rev Teresa I. Soto. Spirit of life, in these difficult times, we ask for connection to you, to ourselves, to one another, and to our greater purpose. We turn toward you. Like a swift breeze, able to bring refreshment and life to our hearts that are burdened. We know that you know that transness is life, and that you accept us and all the ways that we are, not as part of being human, but as a multiplicity of expressions of love. We call on you for strength, as the way before is long, and we have so far to travel. We travel toward justice. Keep us focused on that. And to make that journey, we need safety and courage in equal measure. Give us both. Soften the hearts of those who are causing their own suffering by clutching their transphobia so tightly. Show them the way back to their own humanity. But above all, we ask for more love around us, among us, between us. We give thanks and say, Amen. Our musical meditation today is an original song by Darnell White entitled Butterfly.
I'll go to a dark, lonely room. I will wrap myself up in a safe, small cocoon. And I'll hide from a world you taught me to fear. No, my face you won't see. No, my voice you won't hear. I hid everything that I loved. You said I was strange. What I thought was good about me, you wanted to change. When I return, I'll fly like a bright butterfly, with my wings of all colors. I will float through the sky, and I'll be someone I recognize, not that lost, lonely soul in that awful disguise. I'll be gone till my face you forget. I'll become the real me. I will have no regrets. I won't care who is proud, who is not. I will be a whole person, not a soul left to rot. I thought I could wear this mask all my life. I was wrong. When the light hits my face, you'll hear me sing a new song. And when I return, I'll fly like a bright butterfly, with my wings of all colors. I will float through the sky, and I'll be someone I recognize, not that lost, lonely soul in that awful disguise. I'll fly through the sky like a bright butterfly. I will drift on the leaves, make the world say, oh my. I will be all the things that I want to be. I don't care if you hate all the things that you see. I will hold my head high, I will let my light shine. I will give and receive all the love I can find. No more hiding away, no more living inside. I will walk through this world with hope and with pride, and I'll fly like a bright butterfly, with my wings of all colors. I will float through the sky, and I'll be someone I recognize, not that lost, lonely soul in that awful disguise. I'll fly.
I think I can speak for all of us when I say that was amazing. Thank you. Will you take a deep breath with me? Our reading this afternoon is entitled, God Says Yes to Me, by Kaylin Haught. God says yes to me. God says yes to me. I asked God if it was okay to be melodramatic, and she said yes. I asked her if it was okay to be short, and she said, it sure is. I asked her if I could wear nail polish or not wear nail polish, and she said, honey, she calls me that sometimes. She said, you can do just exactly what you want to. Thanks, God, I said. And is it even okay if I don't paragraph my letters? Sweet cakes, God said. Who knows where she picked that up? What I'm telling you is yes, yes, yes. Please join me in singing hymn number 1028 in the Teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment.
Guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith and freedom fear. The fire of commitment sets our minds and souls ablaze. When our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment in the future can begin. From the stories of the living brings a songbook brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and souls ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can be. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice, built our courage and choice. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and souls ablaze, when the hunger and compassion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can be.
You all are fun to play with on a Sunday morning. Afternoon.
Afternoon.
So one of the parts that didn't make it into my bio, and this is not on you because you picked up the mantle, is that I went back and added a degree in social work, a master's in social work. So I'm working as a social worker right now in a medical clinic, and it's a medical clinic that serves trans and non-binary youth. It's the place of the sort that's under attack across the country right now. And I love this work. I love working with these youth that are coming into the wholeness of their being and struggling through the questions that come with that time of life. And I've been thinking about a teenage girl that I met there. This teenage girl is trans feminine, and so for her, this means she was assigned male at birth, but she identifies now both as female and transgender. But as we often tell our patients, we are so much more than just our gender. This young woman also has Dominican heritage and identifies as Black. And when I meet with these young people, they're often anxious or unsure, or sometimes even openly struggling as they work to come to terms with their gender identity in a world that doesn't always welcome them. But this young woman knew exactly who she was, and she knew exactly why she was there, and there was nothing apologetic about who she was, nor should there have been. Mm-hmm. So the conversation with her was a surprisingly easy one, and we spoke of the ways in which she wanted to plan for her future gender transition. I answered questions and addressed concerns as they arose, and she expressed easy comfort with the answers. This young woman was accompanied to this first meeting with us by her father, and I realized very quickly it was her dad who was struggling. He was very quiet, but it was very clear he was listening carefully. Near the end of our time together, the dad looked at me and he began to speak. And then he stopped, almost swallowing his words, as though he didn't want to say whatever was on his mind. So I waited. He took a deep breath, he locked eyes with me, and he asked me the question that was on his heart. And the question he asked me was this: how do I keep her alive? And I knew what he was asking. His daughter is young, trans, female, and BIPOC. It is a dangerous world out there for that mix of identities. The average age of death for BIPOC transgender women is 39. 39. We lose these amazing humans far too often, either to suicide, worn down by a world which refuses to accept and affirm them, or at the hands of someone who commits violence against them because they can justify it. They see them as less than fully human. So I didn't immediately answer this dad because I knew he knew these statistics. And I finally looked at him and I admitted as much. And I said, "You're right, it is a very dangerous world. But here's the good news I can tell you. Transgender youth with one affirming parent, one parent that sees them and loves them for who they are 25% less likely to commit suicide. Wow. Your love is her protective factor." And he sat back in his chair and he eased a little and he said, "Good, because that's what you'll always have, my love." And in that case, love was that layer of protection that could be offered in the moment. But this is not always so. When children or youth are referred to our clinic with one or two parents, sometimes with foster care, or maybe even alone if they're 18 or older, they're so often struggling. It isn't with being transgender or non-binary that they're struggling with. But it's amazing that bullying starts as early as kindergarten against transgender youth. Many have thought about suicide because the world does not accept them. Sometimes they're young adults, homeless because few places will hire a trans person, even fewer if your gender identity doesn't match your presentation. And in English, if you don't know what that means, it means that if I say I'm male, but I'm wearing nail polish, as I sometimes am. But a lack of work leads to a lack of housing, and the problems quickly mount. All of this because they're trying to live into who they are. In the past year or so, more than 500 laws have been introduced at the local, state, regional, and national level. After the Trump years, when hate moved into the public square yet more, legislators looked around and said, where can we fix our sights? Where's the easy mark? And they picked the transgender community. The rallying cry of hate against the other is so incredibly effective. And this wave of hate legislation is so overwhelming and so quick that it caught my community by surprise. We're still figuring out how to respond to it. And while that's true, all these laws are getting approved and they're showing up at the state and local and school board and levels and being put into law. You know, a year or so ago, some of the worst laws around transgender folks were what bathrooms we could use. And those are bad laws. Those are very bad laws. But nothing like the laws that have been enacted in the past year, laws that allow for transgender children to be removed from loving homes. Laws that are cruel and vicious in intent. They deny gender-affirming care to all youth and increasingly adults in many states. Laws that no longer allow you to talk to a guidance counselor about your concerns. Laws that disallow you from changing your name on any legal state document. Laws against medical professionals and behavioral health professionals such as myself who care for these youth, often making it a felony if we care for a child in which the state has denied care for that child. And this is all done under the realm of protecting children, which we know is a lie.
A lie.
There's so much more I could tell you here, but I'm just going to tell you two more things about these laws. One, Missouri just put into place laws denying gender-affirming care to adults. And this tells us what we've known for years, that this isn't about protecting children, this is about attacking a community. And while the ACLU, God bless them, has managed to get a hold in that state to temporarily hold those laws, it is temporary. More and more professionals, doctors and nurses and social workers are leaving the field because we're afraid of what's going to happen to us legally. More and more youth and young adults are afraid to seek care because they're afraid they're going to wind up on a list somewhere that will be used against them. And we saw that with DACA students. It's not an unreasonable fear. And then there's Florida. And everything's bad, but Florida's all special. They passed a law stating that sex crimes against children are now punishable by the death penalty, which is terrible. But what makes it unlivable is it's now a felony for myself, for example, as a trans person, to be in a Florida public restroom with a minor. So when you do the math, that's a felony. That felony is punishable by death. It is a terrifying moment for so many. Mutual aid networks, escape routes, and legal prosecution of providers is our reality. We live in a country where the foremost LGBTQ organizations are saying we're in a massive refugee crisis. It's no longer safe for many of us to be here. And as bad as this is, I will never tell you, nor will I believe, that it's without hope. Like that dad we talked about, like that big brother, Aiden, from the story, it's still about how we love. It's still about how we show up for each other that matters. And that's where our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism, comes in. A few months ago, we started talking about Article 2. Can you nod your head if you remember, if you've heard about Article 2, just so I know? All right, so a few of you. It's a proposed change to the Unitarian Universalist principles and purposes. We've had the 7 principles. This is a very different way of thinking about it. And I'm going to tell you that when I first heard about it, I was not a fan. My first thought was, there are so many problems in the world, and we Unitarian Universalists are focused on words rather than actions. And I'm going to tell you, I could not have been more wrong. Article 2 realigns our faith touchstones, and it puts love at the center. And it's uncomfortable for a lot of people because love is a squishy word. But what I realized is what it's asking us to do is to put love at the center of everything, not in some Pollyanna love is love sort of way, but more in the we need each other to survive sort of love. The recognition of how deeply interconnected our fates and our futures are. I love being a UU because it never lets me live my faith easily. It's always pulling us into deeper relationship. And Article 2 asks us to go to the margins, to see who is not included, and to make space for them. It doesn't center those of us who are comfortable, but instead focuses on a love in which all of us can thrive. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of this. Until about 5 years ago, there had never been a transgender woman settled minister in all of Unitarian Universalism, any congregation, across the board. They had been, if they were hired at all, as contract or interim ministers, but our congregations were uncomfortable. But we couldn't both claim an expansive love and also summarily exclude whole groups of people. And we've done our work, and it's starting to change, and I see lots of trans and non-binary and otherwise gender-identified colleagues leading in lots of settings within Unitarian Universalism. The second is the vote that just happened at General Assembly. We voted into the UUA presidency, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Bentecourt. Sophia is many things, but she's Black and openly queer. And that was unimaginable 10 years ago. She is going to be good for this faith tradition in ways I believe that we don't even know yet. But we wouldn't have done that 10 years ago. We weren't there. We keep growing and we keep learning. And to me, that's proof of what we're capable of together. So when I go back to that day in the room with that worried dad, rightly worried, asking, how do I keep her alive? I bring that question to you. Because I'm a stranger to you. We don't know each other. And I know it takes established work to do what I'm asking you to do. But here's what I do know. There are Unitarian Universalists already fleeing the most repressive states when they can, and they're trying to simply survive in those times where they don't have the means to flee. We need you, friends. We need you more than I have words for. There are quiet but active networks growing within Unitarian Universalism, providing housing, money, and more to those at the margins, those who we can help keep alive with an embodied, active, committed love. And if this is you and you want to know more, reach out to me, reach out to the Reverend Ashley Horan, who leads our Side with Love campaign and does unbelievable work there. This is work we can and we must do together. And I pray that our love, made manifest with our actions, will be enough. Blessed be. Please join us in our musical meditation number 1012 and the Teal hymnal, When I Am Frightened.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I am certain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your story with me? You will show me compassion. Then I may learn to care too. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
Life at Community Church is busy, whether we are online or in person. It is our hope that wherever you are and in whatever way you are comfortable engaging in the mission and ministry of this church, we have provided opportunities for you. If you are streaming this service live and would like to join others for fellowship, please click the link on our webpage at 3:00 p.m. to enter our Zoom room. For everyone's safety, cameras need to be turned on. For the summer, our Zoom art community will only meet on the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of July and August. If you have your calendars, that's July 13th, July 27th, August 10th, and August 24th. Likewise, evening centering on Fridays will also only meet on the second and fourth Fridays of July and August. That will be July 14th, July 28th, August 11th, and August 25th. Say Hello To will be returning on Wednesday, July 19th at 7 p.m. and will feature our own Yvonne Garrett. Then, in August, be sure to catch Say Hello To with Darnell White. That will be August 26th. We are a 7-day church, and though it is summer, we have a little bit less programming in the summer, we are still here running programming all week. You can find more information in our programs or on our website. Our ushers are going to pass a plate now for our collection. If you are new here, please let the plate go by you with no pressure to give. We are glad for your presence. All gifts offered are accepted in gratitude.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice as Brother Zachary does so for us. Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in our faith, keep peace in our hearts, and make care for one another, the watchword of our lives together, so our light goes out everywhere into the world. I invite you, as you're comfortable, to move a little closer and maybe even take hands for our closing words. Blessed are the trailblazers who brought us this far, who are still trailblazing, still celebrating. Blessed are the drag queens and kings who remind us not to take life too seriously. Blessed are the gender benders, the non-binary, gender fluid, and third gender folk, those who challenge us to reframe our gender paradigm. Blessed are their parents who make space for freedom to love their children fiercely. Blessed are the 90-year-olds who are just coming out and who have been out for decades. Blessed are the survivors, may they keep on living. Blessed are the allies learning to be accomplices. May we all commit to showing up, fighting for justice, celebrating all genders in life. Amen.
I want a door that belongs to me. I want a bed that belongs to me. I want to know when I climb into bed, I'll wake up in my own morning, a morning that really belongs to me. I want a floor that belongs to me. I want a chair that belongs to me. I want to know when I rock in that chair, I'll look up at my own ceiling. Oh, what a feeling that's gonna be. The golden hours waiting on a line. I can pick the flowers hanging on a vine. And on that day that belongs to me, I'll have the man that belongs to me, to share the door and the floor and the bed and the chair in my own morning, where every hour is golden, no one to whom I'm beholden, a morning that really belongs to me.